letting the sales down. Like, he's so overly competitive to people that, like, he doesn't
then be
You
transferred
gotta do.
into skill.
Well,
Yes.
Right.
100%. Like 100%. I just think I need it to be recognized. And you're right. Like my stone, I don't think I ever had a boulder, but I definitely had a stone that could have rolled down and hurt me. But the chip is now, it's silly, but it's there, and I've got to acknowledge it. Say, okay, it's there a little bit, and it's mostly where it lies for me is.
Oh, where is Hercules? Why the fuck am I fighting
impacting yourself, not impacting. I'm an impact the world guy. I'm not an impact myself guy. I'm confident that if I chose a path that would have led to greater material gains, that I would have achieved that. But they never really meant any. They've never meant anything to me. However, I must acknowledge that I hate seeing other people with it from time to time that really haven't accomplished in my mind. And that's wrong because they're feeling like they're feeling as impactful as I feel. But that's them.
It's all relative too.
It's all relative to what you think is important, and what's going to get. And it's the dismissal. What's going to get me recognized? Would in Rumson would a lot of cash get me recognized? No. Middle of the road guy.
Yeah.
I'd be middle. Sheila and I would be middle of the road people in Rumson. Maybe not even. We might be on the lower end. But when I'm at the golf club and somebody says, that's Fiorio, when he X, Y, or Z did, they look at something, find something. He was a guy who, arrested this. All of a sudden, that's my resource. That's my material. The intangibles are my material. I pull in a Jeep Wrangler. Everybody else pulls in a, convertible, whatever.
You're doing it that on purpose.
I like, but that's me. I mean, I've never been a car guy and never been a watch guy, right? And I just never have. Timex Iron Man was my favorite watch of all time. My car. This is the greatest car I've ever had, except for one cut through.
I think in a way you kind of that's like part of you. Remind people a little bit because the other thing is, guys like you, I think about like military people who go overseas and come back. They gotta see some of the shit that people fight over, and just be like,
"What are you doing?
You fucking idiot!
What are you doing? What are you doing? Like it's perspective, and they don't have that, and that's okay. And I need to. Well, I'm much better at it, but learn that that's okay. It's okay. It's what they know. It's what they feel. It's what they think is the right thing to do. Obviously, they believe in what they're doing. So I can't sit there and say, let me judge you in what you believe in. No, that's your belief. And I think my dismissal has caused me to look harder at people to kind of try to realize what their issues, what their negative core belief is. And that helps. And sometimes they'll even thank those people. Like, I can think of a person right now that I thought I, had real big time problems for what he did and how he did it, and, what happened in the end. But then I look at that person and they're alone. They've got nothing. And I feel bad. And I think that's when you can look at somebody and say, listen, I don't know what your path looked like. I wasn't in the middle of it. My perspective was that it was these three things. At the end of the day, man, you're sad. Like, you're a sad dude, and I feel bad. Not that I'm going to help you, but I feel bad.
That's the other side of it, too, because this is the difference with, like, grudges and stuff. When I was referring to that dramatically a couple minutes ago, I mean that as motivation, where the very rare people turn into that boulder. But the way the thing I deleted from the end by accident there that's very important to say is you get your use, you drink the water from that cup, and when it's done, it really is done. Like, there are people that I used as motivation 2.5 years ago that now I'm like, I'm like, oh, well, they are a really sad person. You know what? God bless them. I hope they do better.
You do.
Right? But guys like Michael Jordan can't do that.
No.
They never forget it.
No, they can't. And so I do believe that that's the ultimate healing piece is when you can look at somebody that you had a big time issue with not that long ago and say,
When you were going to not even just interrogate people, but that's the best example. Maybe start to study people, start to make cases on them even before that. How much of creating the profile was it you trying to get back to their childhood and the environment they came from?
it's a piece of it, for sure. I would try to think about what incentivizes this particular person. What is the reason that they're acting and doing it? And a lot of times that would go back to a simple childhood piece, abandonment piece, abuse, or dismissal, or any of those things that are. There's only 5 or 6 of them, really, and then try to build from there and say, okay, now why are they doing what they're doing? Why are they trying to move this cause forward? Why are they trying to move this fraud forward? Why are they trying to, complex financial situations? Who is looking at them differently? Who are they trying to impress? Is there someone that they have to impress? Is there someone that they hold that chip on their shoulder for? What have others said about them? That's a powerful piece. And then with the internet now and the dark web, you can find shit that people have said about certain people that you're looking at and say, wait a minute, this could be it. This could be it. And, you talk to a guy like Raj, who you had here, which was the greatest interview of all time. His book is amazing. There's people that have said and continue to say shit about that guy, not knowing the facts. And I think it drives him to kind of put out there, look, so much so that he didn't cooperate. That's exceptional.
I will say this, regardless of what people think on that case or what they think the facts are or what they don't, he is one of the most classy people I've ever met in my life. And guys,
billions
of dollars. He wants for nothing except there's something that he wanted.
I have sat because of what I did.
Yep.
I have sat with some insanely wealthy people.
Yep.
And some of them aren't great. Others are great people. So I don't want this to be generalized.
No, I
and
get
misheard. But to a man, there's a number up in the 9 figures where when you are sitting across from this person, there's a thing. There's just a little thing, and a lot of them aren't trying to do it. It's in their eyes where it's like, I'm me,
exactly.
you're you, right?
Poor you.
None of that with him. And I was off camera with him for at least 3 hours that day. He was here the whole day. Not one fucking shred of it. And then when you go through it and everything, I do care a lot about intent. Negligence can't be a full excuse for stuff, and I think all across the hedge fund industry there was some negligence, especially in that era. But so when I look at that, I'm like, wow, here's a guy who has every reason to shut up, throw up his middle fingers, and say fuck you and go into the sunset and enjoy his life. But he has taken the time to raise the issue of like, hey, they fucked me in some ways. I'm worth billions of dollars. I had all the money in the world to fight them. What are they going to do to the guy that has no money? I respect that a lot.
So do I, and I think the people, his critics, are those that wish they could be financially independent.
Yeah.
They're shallow motherfuckers. I will say that. Like, they're shallow dudes. A guy like that, that's his challenge, is to stay away from those sons. You know what I mean? And he's good at it. Compartmentalize a lot of things.
Very well.
So I think that's, but to answer your question, going back, that's the depth that you have to get to figure out why people are doing what they're doing, and it could be a little self-destruction. Like I talked about on myself. It comes full circle. There could be a little of that, or a lot of that, but there's definitely something that is deep inside them that causes them to have to do what they do. So the great interrogators, to have it is to draw it out in whatever way you can, and then to shut down and let it come to you.
Was there ever someone that I feel like I know the answer to this, but I'm gonna leave it open-ended. Were there ever one person or multiple different people over your career who did some bad shit, right? Like, we'll say, not like criminal stuff, like bad shit, hurt people, the
Fuck
whole
no,
nine.
shut the hell up.
After doing the job and interrogating them, had developed through that process such a deep connection and understood where they came from and how they got to the point where it's like hurt people, and all that, to where you had significant empathy. Significant?
I would say the only time I maybe thought twice about it is if you had a time-sensitive matter that needed to go to another level, and then after the fact, during the fact, knowing that I had to meet a deadline, but after or during, I would think that I feel kind of loud.
Oh, the actual, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but as far as like thinking about what they were doing, the really bad dudes, I never thought about it.
So there was never.
They have brought us great shame.
I'm making up a scenario right now, but
Your right tower is under
the
attack.
dude
Has
who
been conquered.
robs every bank because his, I know he's only a kid, like, because he grew up with nothing and his stepfather beat the shit out of him, and you know his brother was abusive to him. His teacher told him to go fuck himself and basically kicked him out of school for all intents and purposes when he was 15. He was homeless for a long time, was addicted to drugs at one point. In fact, that's when he did the first bank robbery. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
no, I understand the pattern and I get it, but there's always more.
And
I
literally
think
just
there
walk
are
out of the
scenarios
tower,
where
bro. You
that's what
fucking
they're putting
suck,
on.
bro.
They're trying to throw you, and I just, I would put my bullshit meter up against anyone. It's kind of like, okay, you know, what do we need to get to kind of get past this,
He's
get this admitted,
immaculate
and then
fucking
move
trash,
forward? What can you,
bro.
if all that shit happened, wouldn't you help me out with the people that look the other way during the time?
Fuck no, it's gonna
And we can go after that order.
but where that's not applicable, though. Where that's not applicable.
Yeah, I mean, do you feel bad? It's just it's a situation. First couple times, first couple years, you definitely feel like, oh my God, this is out there.
Yeah.
It's terrible, you know. But then you kind of get to the point where you're like, it doesn't have to be this way, you know. Or, I guess that I'm not there yet. I'm not evolved enough to think this way. My wife does, but like, well, that was
An enemy has been slain.
you had to have guns to get where you are, to be able to sit and talk and tell somebody about all these things. Maybe that's your healing. I'm not there. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm closer to it. Maybe very small piece of me is closer to it. But that's a big thing for me. You know,
That's a tough thing.
it's a tough thing.
That can go.
Well, for me, I can't do that because then I start justifying everything. And I got a job to do. And the biggest, if there are any regrets, it's the time sensitive. Because I didn't have the time to establish good or bad rapport. Rapport's rapport. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad.
So
I
you
just
didn't
need
do
it.
anything.
Yeah, I mean, I just fucking like cranking people down to get what we need because if we don't have it by this time, we can't disprove some type of fact. You know, or some type of chatter. So, I mean, I always got something out of it because I just improved my skills. So I improved my ability to help.
They should beware your killing spree.
Rapport is, like I said, rapport is a word that, good or bad, doesn't matter.
You want okay, this is interesting. You wanted the feeling of the process having played out and you having gone through the maze and gotten to the middle point and figured it out correctly by using every chess move that you like to use. Whereas when you still would get the result of being, you didn't like the fact that you didn't get to enjoy the process.
And I wasn't always as sure about the result.
Well, okay, that's important.
It's not that it wasn't the result, but I was always like, we go too hard on this side and do something. You know what I mean? But going through the process and arguing back and forth and just continuing to hammer one point or whatever my particular technique was, I would figure out over the course of time. then and that could be 15 minutes to 3 days. You know, eventually I'll be like, okay, I got. You know, I'm not letting him waver from X, Y, or Z. You can't let him go. Or, you know, okay, let's do what we gotta do. We gotta get there. So how do we get there quick? And then I would get it. It would be, even if it was proven, which it always was proven correctly, I'd be like, fuck, like, you know, I wonder, did I miss something? Did I miss a step that there could have been somebody else in between, or a buffer, or some type of, you know, insulator that I missed because I just didn't have the time.
You must obtain
Was the Captain Phillips situation one of these time crunches?
No,
No?
that dude, he went. They were like 2 seconds. So he does everybody shit all over inside that fucking thingy. So that goes pretty quick.
What happened? Can you take us through the story? We never talked about that one.
That's a
happened
tough
there?
one. So that's gonna be in the book, but it'll be under Captain Peters. No, I'm kidding. Major Peters.
Because it is a movie now.
Not the movie, but it's totally good.
Really?
100%.
Can you say what's wrong?
No, because we can't. But I'll tell you off.
Okay. What was your role there, though?
Just one of the interrogators and a witness to SEAL Team 2.
So you got flown over there right away, or?
Yeah, within.
And how long was he on that? 3 days?
It's like 4.5 days. Right? Yeah, at least.
And how far offshore were they?
They were out there.
100 miles, something like that?
I think the
You
right.
can only rely on your own strength.
Yeah. He's out there. He's a Rich Frankel.
It was what?
Rich Frankel.
Who's that?
He's like a former SAC. Good guy.
So this was the kind of situation where, as you as one of the interrogators at the Bureau of Specialty, they call you in, like, yeah, we got a situation.
Well, we gotta figure out. Yeah, we gotta kind of figure out
Your foe has been conquered.
without. We gotta waste some time.
Yeah, what was the situation? How many guys took over that boat?
Enemy team
There
has
were 3,
destroyed the gold
4
fuel
inside with the captain, and then we drew out the one dude.
Your team has destroyed a right enemy tower.
We drew the one. What the hell? I can't remember. I don't think I drew one guy out onto the ship.
Dude, get
And
the
then what we were
fuck.
trying to do is time. SEAL team had their snipes, and they had a time to attach them by lanyard, by rope, to the boat, so that we could time the exact movements. We could control the movement because the shots were different. You would have missed. You couldn't miss. Both guys had to be on these guys.
Where was the?
I think it was 2 guys left. I think
Where
we
was
took
the
2
SEAL
guys
team?
out on our ship,
And how close was your ship in proximity?
a couple hundred yards.
So they could see it, obviously.
So they could see it, but it was rocking and rolling. No, they didn't know. They didn't know. They just figured we were tying them up so they would fucking float away and drown and die.
Oh, but they knew the boat was there. They didn't
Oh,
know
yeah.
snipers were on there.
No, they knew the boat was there. So it was the merch, whatever the marts or whatever they're all.
Yeah. No, I got you. But what was the?
biggest time.
Then what was the thing you were talking about shooting on the boat that was going up and down? The actual shot?
We had to have the same level. We couldn't allow them to just be floating around
Really?
because we'd never get the ability to wind it
An enemy
the shot,
has been
wind it
slain.
the angles, everything. So once we tied them up to the ship, we knew we'd be the same.
And they didn't know you were tied. Where did you
No,
tie it?
they knew because they were scared. That was one of the parts. Like they were
Yeah.
and everything else. Like it was bad. So they were nervous. The weather was terrible, and we just rock perfect, and then.
But they knew that the boats were tied together.
Oh yeah.
How did you do it? Like down below?
No, we just did like a hey, you know what? We gotta make sure. I forget how like it worked, but my guy convinced them, hey, you gotta let them tie it because if you guys float away, you're gonna go out to sea, and that boat doesn't have any food. And they were starting to get physical. They were starting to get really physical. They were. I mean, the movie shows like I think just a couple of slaps. They were cutting them and all kinds of shit.
And how many crewmen did he have on there?
I think there was 3.
An ally has been
At
slain.
one point there was 4 in the captain, and then
They have brought
2
us
of them
great shame.
jumped off, and we pulled them on, and then 2 in the
Your
captain.
foe has been conquered.
And they weren't gonna. Those guys were the
You
worst.
deserve an upgrade.
We got nervous.
Good, bitch.
just in general though, were you in contact with them like that?
Yeah.
You were on the phone with
Not
Tara?
me. I wasn't.
What were you doing?
Talking to one dude.
So you were in contact.
I mean, well, he was on the ship. Not talking to the guys in the lifeboat.
Right. You were talking to the dude in the cockpit who was doing the.
Mm-hmm.
Attack the Gold Fury!
So you were there for like 3 days then. Something like that.
Yeah, it was too long. The only worst thing on a ship was PWA.
Worth the fire giant!
Oh shit. That's 96.
I did not do good on those open AV warships because there's no stabilizing. This is rock.
Right. Yes.
I'm terrible.
Well, that was
Great on cruise ships. Anybody wants to take me on a cruise?
that was another
Yeah, I'm
one.
great at karaoke.
Because last time when we did the two-parter, we were getting tuned up and everything. We were having
I have no idea.
I don't even know what happened. You were hilarious, but
That one was. That's a tough one.
so just
Tough
to
memory.
recap though, the other one that we were literally like speculating on a little bit because you were at least around it was 587, which is the one in November 2001 that crashed in New York,
Where the tail wing fell off.
and the connotation there is that the
Fell
NTSB
off.
the NTSB report looks a little
Fell
too
off.
clean. What happened? No, but the thing is that we talked about, and other people talked about it as well, and someone's comments and stuff, is like, you were telling me this, I think, the first podcast we ever did afterwards when this came up, that's why I brought it up again, but you're like, they literally, at aviation school, they teach this crash, and look, because the structural explanation, as fucked up as like it seems, comes perfectly, so they can be like, well, don't ever let this happen.
Right.
So the question was, just because the FBI, it's a crash investigation, you guys leave once it's determined to be that the NTSB has to take over.
Yep.
So you guys are in the dark, and all of you were like, something's
Bro,
wrong.
come
Yeah,
here,
they
bro. I
said,
cannot do this alone.
The wake.
From the 747 that was in front of them. It was too close.
Which
Knocked the
is-
wing off.
Double kill.
But the injuries were like,
Your empire is utterly unstoppable.
the injuries. Yeah. Nobody died. Like, it's broken neck. I think that's
An ally has been slain.
Yeah, but the other one, why would TWA 800, which we can review real quick, in 1996, which you were directly on this investigation, why on this one did the FBI stay on? Because it wasn't,
further out.
and because they
So
thought,
it's all jurisdiction. So if you look at both, I forget the place.
587 was November 01.
587 on land, no FBI jurisdiction. Once they determine that it's not terrorist.
He does not want to fucking listen.
You can only
Sully.
rely on your
On
own
the-
strength.
Right, double bird blast, no jurisdiction.
Defend the Gold Fury!
800, I'm more than a mile out. It's ours.
Okay,
A mile
that's
off,
interesting.
anything a mile offshore is ours. Doesn't matter what it is.
Hit
Just
middle lane!
basic stuff. I have it behind you just for people to know what we're talking about. Transworld Airlines Flight 800 was a Boeing 747 that exploded and crashed in the Atlantic
What the
Ocean near
fuck?
East Moor
Oh.
Chase, New York
Yep.
on July 17, 1996
Six.
at about 8:30 p.m.
Yep.
12 minutes after takeoff from John F. Kennedy International Airport. It was scheduled to go to Rome with a stopover in Paris. All 230 people on board died in the crash. It's the third deadliest aviation accident in U.S.
Bunch
history.
of kids, I think, too.
Right.
Bunch of high
So
schoolers.
Your foe
NTSB
has
traveled to
been
the scene
conquered.
along with you guys. There was speculation that a terrorist attack was the cause of the crash. Consequently, this is where the Federal Bureau of Investigation, New York Police Department, Joint Terrorism Task Force
They have
initiated
brought us
parallel
great
criminal investigation.
Even when
16 months
outnumbered,
later, the
you will
JTTF
never
announced
fall.
that no evidence of a criminal act had been found and closed in active investigations. Now, on this one, you were in the middle of it, so this one you can actually really speak on.
Evidence recovery.
Didn't you tell me for this one,
We interviewed every
Yes.
747 certified pilot in the world.
like all the best
Center gas tank never blew up.
What?
all to a man, they all said it.
Can't
So they said it had to be shot down.
Your middle tower.
Who do you think shot it down?
There was one of our Navy.
Oh shit!
Your middle tower
I mean, if you
has
see
been
this, they
destroyed.
just, you know, they've destroyed,
Oh,
the evidence recently. They destroyed the, I think, or they're getting ready to, or they did. I think. And there was like,
Your
it was
right
about
tower
clear,
is under attack.
just a hole.
So this was
There's
a
witnesses that saw like a flame shoot up, but you know, the opposing side of that, Jim Kallstrom said, no. When the gas tank blew up, the flames from the fuel flowed down into the ocean, like right on an exact. And it was amazing, like a 45-degree angle that the gas is like, I'd like to fall straight down in several blobs, but we're gonna fall straight down in a line.
I didn't know Jim Kallstrom had a major in nuclear science.
Yeah, he's a big-time engineer.
Wow.
Engineered,
I thought he was
engineered
working the
his
time
own,
up.
engineered his own publicity.
Oh my
But yeah,
God.
so that was always confusing.
So
I truly believe that show. I truly believe it. Yeah, we thought we interviewed every single. I mean, there was a lot of certified local death. It was an extensive investigation. We had hundreds of agents.
They should beware your
And we did the recovery.
An enemy has been slain.
There's some amazing.
You have slain
Like
an
with the
enemy.
kids. I had terrible. Well, there was like, I think there was like one high school that was on a Rome trip. Like it was, I think it was a summer, like a 10-day or like a study abroad for a big time high school. Wiped out like an entire class. Terrible.
like
But it's like, yeah, you know, it's just to encourage people to think these things doesn't make sense to them. Why are we doing it? There's so much shit out there that's just unexplained, stays below the radar long enough for people to kind of get it and let it go. I mean, look, shit, we can go, if we wanted to, go all the way back to the JFK thing.
well, yeah,
That just shut down completely, and
I would not say this about that one, but on things like this, where it's an isolated incident where tragically 230 people die, where there was no intent, it was your Navy warship, and you guys fucked up. This is a slippery slope, man. It's a slippery slope, but this is one where if I were being totally unbiased as a judge in the afterlife, like, what are the pros and cons here? The cons of the American people in the wake of a tragedy saying that like the Navy should no longer be allowed to operate anywhere because a couple dudes fucked up late at night, as tragic as it is. I don't ever want to use the words like, I understand the cover up here. This one, it's like, I can see where they're coming from. Now, JFK, fuck that. However, way after the fact, let's be honest, if the CIA came out and admitted that people at their organization were involved in that, the CIA ceases to exist the next day. Doesn't matter if it was 60 years. Doesn't matter. They're done. It's that secret is too big to put out, but I don't accept the cover-up. That's bullshit.
oh, cover-up's terrible.
Bullshit.
They should beware your killing spree.
Military officers. The TW-800 is not impressive because there was that Iranian airline was shot down by U.S. ships. Admittedly so. Remember that?
No.
Yeah, remember that thing? It was like killed like 400 people.
But again, that's on a foreign agent or a foreign nation or something. 1988, are you talking about?
Yeah.
So again, like a lot of implications here, but that's not like some dude accidentally on a ship shot down his own country's civilian aircraft. This could have been a mistake where it's like, oh, we thought that was it.
Friend or
Iranian,
foe, man.
yeah.
Friend or foe. You gotta figure that out.
Yeah, it's tough.
This dude trash, bitch.
Enemy team has destroyed the gold fury.
That's almost. I saw like some of the West Point guys trying to teach people like urban warfare when the Ukraine thing, broke out, and I was reading them like, there's no way the average person like me understands any of this shit. But thanks for trying.
Yeah. Urban wear. Oh yeah, urban wear.
Fucking nuts. But Jim, this was number 100, man.
I can't believe it. You're killing it. This is great.
Good, man.
So much good shit that you've done. So many people that you've exposed to good information, but at the same time, you continue to be heroic. Appreciate it. I can't tell you how many people come up and talk to me about it. I'm happy about it. You should be proud of what you're doing. I think.
Thank you, man.
It's great, and I'm honored to be number 100. Jeez.
It was a no-brainer. You have a big fan club around this show who discovered the show through you. You've been on here 3 times now. The second time we did a 2-part episode. But in a lot of ways, you know, I live so day to day with this. I don't. I really. There's not like some grand plan. Like I don't have time or capacity for that. So I take things as they go. But I love being able to look back and see how the pieces kind of fall into place. And in a lot of ways, you were the guy who really legitimized this thing because you weren't someone who had put yourself out there publicly yet, but your resume is absurd. And so that's all people got to read, and then they're like, oh, how'd you get this guy?
Well, it's my honor to do it with you. So
well,
great.
You crushed it every time. Exactly. You did last time. But
I'm not good with the scotch.
Dude, people liked that second episode a lot, and I'm like, great. I was horrified.
Oh my god, I don't even remember what I said.
I don't remember any of it, but. No, I really appreciate you coming on this so much.
Anytime, I love coming on, and I'll be back, I'm sure. So.
You will. We'll keep you. I mean, some people want to like every 5 episodes.
Yeah, we can't do that.
I gotta keep them wanting more.
Yeah, I gotta babysit Sal.
Yeah, but you sharing everything you have on this show and always having a new perspective and things to bring to the table from your career and what's going on is like the greatest thing. I'm honored by it, and I know everyone out there really, really appreciate it.
It is my honor, and it's therapeutic for me, and it's helped me more than it's helped anybody
Right.
else.
So.
Well, you're helping me, man. I'm trying to help my dream come true here. I'm trying.
Your
So,
team has destroyed a middle
You're
enemy
there.
tower.
We'll get it.
we're not there yet, but I have definitely
You know, buddy.
never ever wanted something. And I feel like, you know, there's a lot on me, obviously, day to day. Like, I do all the shit myself, which is one thing that you have. I have been very blessed to have some incredible people come in here and do their thing for giving 3 hours of their time. And I you know, the appreciation for that is insane because I especially seeing like you from the time. I couldn't do without you. And, you know, I don't know what the future holds here. I'm trying, but I'm gonna keep rolling and like, you know,
You're gonna make it. You've made it. We're there.
we're working on it.
Absolutely.
So thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
All right, we'll do it again soon.
Sounds like a plan.
Everybody else, you know what it is. Give it a thought. Get back. Thanks.
An enemy has been slain. The battlefield has grown silent. Your presence is divine.
Shit.
They should beware your killing spree. An enemy has been slain. At last, the fight has ended. handle things, we'll see who's still standing when the dust settles.
For this story to make sense, you must